that you can't just change the way we produce food, but we all have to change
faces behind you.
Our lives. As consumers, we all have a part to play in this whole revolution. Next slide. I mean, clicker pala ako. Okay, so community shared agriculture. So we can think about it this way, as an equation. Smallholder organic farmers connected to concerned eaters or socially responsible consumers is equal to sustainable community. And the plus is a relationship. Making that as short as possible and building a relationship between them. So you don't become, you're not just a consumer, but you become a stakeholder in pledging to support farmers for a fixed period. And in return, you get whatever's seasonally available, whatever's fresh, whatever's in season. And the same, so you reap the rewards when it's a bountiful harvest, and you also are in solidarity when it's difficult. And this is so as not to lose our connection to the land and to each other. So that's the whole premise. Let's break it down to who these people are. Next slide. I have a clicker. Okay, so smallholder organic farmers. Wait. Klaro ba yung idea ng community shared agriculture? Yes? No? One more time. It's clear. Got it. Okay. So, because there are a number of interesting features there. So with smallholder organic farmers, how have we done it in the Philippines? We work with 60 farmers in Luzon. We work with 20 farmers in Capas Tarlac, so traditionally rice and sugarcane growing groups. The one in we work with 20 farmers in La Trinidad, Benguet, so there's more of a history of commercial vegetable farming, and 20 more farmers in Bauco Mountain Province. So you can imagine, very far away. But at the same, and what we've learned with these three farmer groups is iba-iba talaga, no? Parang there are similarities into why they've come into organic farming, but their contexts are incredibly different. Their income streams, the way they live, the way they work together, what they're able to do. And and one of the things about the model is that we really work closely with them to understand and to be in partnership. So those are the 60 farmers. Another thing is that they're smallholder farmers, so that means their land holding is less than 2 hectares each. And they're not contiguous, which means hindi sila magkakadikit. So you can imagine medyo challenging yung pag-aggregate ng gulay, to be coordinating, etc. And varying levels of participation. So we found yung natitira, yung matyaga, and mostly women, because they can work in their backyards and then they can do it as a part-time thing and not full-time. We've learned that for a lot of the men, they're looking for a full-time salary all the time, and so it may not be as helpful to them. But we see that the women really stay and really are interested in doing it as an extension of the health of their family. So yun po, 60 farmers, varying levels of participation. Okay, let's move to the eaters. Yung concerned eaters are in Metro Manila, and we've seen that we have 20 to 30 years old, they prefer salad packs, and then like 40 to 50 years old, we sell bayongs. I'll show you their products later. And we work with a number of restaurants. And finally, it's not just these people, but a sort of community that has evolved around it. Later, you're going to hear from Movable Feast and from Muni Market, who are also partners. And it's just kind of nice to see everyone, because we've had to all work together. Tita Daisy has allowed her space for our little market. And so I guess what I'm trying to say is that it's not a straightforward equation, this plus this is equal to that. But it's sort of like a farm as well, how this ecology has evolved by bridging the farmers and bring them into the mix, and then asking people, can we use your place as pickup points? Can we work together? There's a kind of social ecology that we're growing here, and that's a kind of change that I'm interested in, and that's what community shared agriculture provides. So next slide. So this is what we do. And these are the keys to sustainability. So our products, obviously, organic vegetable subscriptions. We don't sell gulay lang. What we sell are commitments. So you don't just buy from a store, you don't just buy from a market, but you buy for 4 weeks, you buy for 12 weeks. And this ensures that you are a stakeholder. We sell sort of encounters, so we bring people to the farm for farm trips. We have community kitchens where people are invited to learn how to cook the food. Because you'd be surprised. Actually, swerte kayo. Parang you seem to grow up, most of you, knowing what your vegetables are, knowing where they come from. But in Manila, if you grew up the way I had, parang, I've never tasted sweeter tomatoes than when I started this work. I had no clue what nutritious food really tasted like. And that's the kind of connection that we wanted to broach. As we get more urbanized, I think CSA will become more relevant. But basically what we want to do is to bring encounters for highly urbanized people like us, maybe your kids who you've sent to Manila, to not lose their relationship with the farms. And finally, partnerships. So we found that with a lot of our smallholder farmers, it's not just about learning the technology of organic production. It's about access to credit, about other social services and marketing. A lot of your questions that you're addressing now. And so we had like a Fund the Farmer program to put up small greenhouses, to put basic infrastructure in place. And of course, fair trade that Hindi also espouses. Trade agreements matter, talking about how we're going to work on prices. There's no easy answer, but how you communicate with them and how you discuss this, it's the process. Diba? So these are the keys of sustainability, and this is the work that we do. Now, next slide. So, how do we frame those commitments in the Philippine setting? We have the Bayong Pambahay, which is hearty and leafy vegetables, the salad pack, which are basically your greens, and the juice pack. So the juice pack was originally a lot of leafies, but now it's more the common juicing vegetables like carrots, beets, celery, and whatever dark green leafies is available. So you don't get to choose what's in your bayong, but you have sort of a small universe of possibilities depending on the season, and we ensure a kind of diversity for that. Yes? Yeah, but the whole experiment, this is in the broad experiment of how do we implement community shared agriculture here. And you can commit to as short as 4 weeks and as long as 12 weeks. Next slide. So I wanted to take this time to kind of reflect with you and share with you what we've learned over the last 5 years of trying it out in the Philippines. So one is integrity. From talking to smallholder farmers and from listening to you, organic agriculture, sustainable agriculture, natural farming is not just a technology. It's something that's changed their lives. Diba? And it's something that they want to give. And compared to that, we have farmers who try to do organic agriculture, but they have another, parang may backyard sila for their family, and then may backyard for commercial production. Dun yung mga pesticides, yung mga fertilizers, and it creates this kind of moral dichotomy, di ba? Parang walang integrity. Yung pinapakain mo sa pamilya mo, iba sa pinapakain mo sa market, parang ano yun? At the same time, like in the cities, how come we're not valuing our own health? You work day and night, you hardly sleep. What can you eat in Manila? If you only have like, if you're an average person, what can you eat in Manila? Parang halos wala. And so there's something very wrong. And promoting with CSA, we allow for a certain integrity because farmers are now able to sell their produce to people in Manila, and you don't need a lot of money to afford a bayong and to feed yourself well. You need to learn to cook, and you need to learn to eat your own cooking. But you can feed your family well. So that's the integrity that we kind of bridge. We found that in some senses, the government has really done a good job in training, in teaching. We meet so many farmers who know how to do it. Kulang talaga sa market. Diba? Sa marketing, connecting them with consumers, and consumer education for people to be wanting to pay the right amount for what they eat. We've also found that with a commitment for CSA, for our consumers, it also allows them, because they buy it, parang gym membership yan, di ba? Nandiyan na yung gulay. So yun yung unang kakainin mo. Sayang eh. And that, you know it's good for you, so, and so that kind of shifts a sense of priority, and it allows you to live with more integrity because you value your health more. It's a strange world, it's a strange psychology, but that's the way it's worked, and we hear people thank us, like, thank you, I've eaten so much better ever since I started this commitment. And it can't be much shorter than 4 weeks because of the change in lifestyle. Parang, if you do it just one time, manalula kayo, oh my gosh, anong gulay ito, and how do I cook it, and all those things. But if you don't get back up on the horse and try to do it again, parang wala rin yung point. So that's why we really advocate for that commitment. Second is, resilience. So I think especially with climate change, with all the disasters that have occurred, resilience is really a hot topic. How do we create communities that are resilient? And aside from the natural resilience of cultivating a diversity, how does CSA support that kind of resilience? I think what we've done is when we work with the farmers, we fix prices for the year, and because people can't choose what vegetables they get, there's always something to deliver. So typically, like in the summer, we would have tomatoes, or ngayon, December, sigarilyas, pero even during the rainy season, it's a saluyot, or whatever, okra, diba? There's always something to deliver, even if nagbagyo or whatever, there's always something in the land that they can deliver. And by working with these 3 farmer groups, that allows them a stability of demand and a stability of what they can feed their families. So those are that's what we've done in terms of purchasing terms. And unfortunately, I think the resilience for consumers really comes from learning how to feed themselves well. And that's something that we haven't really compromised on. It's that there's no shortcut to it. We're not going to cook the food for you. It's really you learning how to feed yourself. Finally, community. So I think community has been thrown around a lot, but what really makes a community, and it's really been working very closely together. Syempre, may mga personalities and dynamics that you can't afford, but on the other hand, it makes it accessible for all of you. It's not our dream that we're gonna expand our markets, etc. And in fact, when we started, I never thought I would be in business. Wala akong capital, wala akong anything. We joined a business plan competition and started with 100,000 pesos. 12 prayer group friends put in 3,000 pesos. And we said, why can't we do it? Like, feed our friends and family well, work with these farmers. How simple can that be? And 5 years later, thousands of kilos of vegetables later, hundreds of subscribers later, and 60 farmers, how many people have we fed? So, I'll tell it to you now, hindi kayo yaman with community shared agriculture, but you will have fed so many people very well and for a long time. So, tying it back to a shared economy and talking to you in Negros, I feel like I'm not advocating CSA for everything. There's always a way of adapting it to where you are. No? And here you have the benefit of 10 years or even longer history of people supporting. Your consumers seem to be much more enlightened than ours. But there is a way that you can keep that connection with the consumers as people get more and more busy. And for you to figure it out on your own and share best practices, that would be great. So for us, has it been about the veg? I could care less about vegetables in the past. Parang every leafy looked the same to me. But after all these 5 years of working with people, it's really become about each other. Lahat sila may pangalan para sa akin. And, you know, it's just a beautiful friendship. And now parang hindi ko na sila mapababayaan. It's really like me, how do I support this beautiful dream that we've created together? So CSA has become about growing together. Hallelujah! And about giving, receiving, beauty, and grace. So these are squash flowers, and I don't know how many of you, siguro marami sa inyo nakakain ng squash flowers, but for others, it's like, you never see them anymore. You can't buy them in the supermarket because you have to pick them so early in the morning, tapos nalalata sila kaagad, diba? But these are the things that we want to preserve. Diba? Kasi ang sarap eh. Ang ganda. And that's what we can give with a bayong connected to your farmer. And it's about living traditions, knowledge, and life worlds. Alam mo naman, magiging farmer, hindi yan plug and play, diba? Hindi yan take a course and you're done. It's after years and years of practice, of walking the talk, living life, understanding your soil, and all that. And these tomatoes are also an example of that. When we showed these tomatoes to our farmers in Capas, sabi na, yun yung tinatanim ng tatay ko. Pero wala na kasi hindi naman binibili. Ang hirap dalhin kasi, di ba, parang nalulusaw siya. Tawag sa kanila, kamatis na baligtad. Ewan ko kung anong tawag ninyo. Pero ang sarap niya, di ba? Ang lambot. And then, so it's like, thank you for bringing that back to us and allowing us to cultivate that tradition. And so we go back to the plate of gulay. So now when I see vegetables, medyo kilala ko kung galing sa farmers namin o hindi. And I no longer think about it like, you know, to me, what I eat, what I put on the table, is something that I've learned to cook, and it represents so much more than calories or organic or not organic, but it's about a common dream for the Philippines and a common dream for smallholder farmers and for us to build a kind of economy, a kind of society where everyone is fed, not just the consumers, but also the farmers and the generations to come. And that's our shared dream with a shared plate. So that's how I believe we can change the world with food.